Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's John. So it's time for another book review. The book I would like to review for you today is by a contemporary novelist, but it's not by any means his newest novel. It is by Salman Rushdie, but the book is about 15 years old. In fact, it came out, I think it was his first release after 9/11. And it is Shalimar the Clown by Salman Rushdie. Um, I remember that my first reading of Salman Rushdie um, was his novel that I think came out just before I picked it up, which was Fury, that I sort of read, quickly forgot about, and now don't even really faintly remember too much about it all. Sort of scratched my head at it and wondered where this big literary reputation had even come from. I didn't wonder what people saw in the writing. It was it was short, and I thought maybe it was a one-off miss, and in time I'll come to him again and find something that I'm more crazy about. So, and then, just merely because I saw it sitting on my bookshelf and thought that it might share some certain elective affinities with something else that I was reading at the time, I picked up Shalimar the Clown, and suddenly I found myself in the middle of a novel very quickly that I not only enjoyed, but that sort of had a symphonic breadth that enchanted me, and that I knew I would be recommending to people through reviews and just casual conversation, probably for years to come. Shalimar the Clown is set off when India Offals witnesses the murder of her father, Max Offals, the famed United States ambassador to India, and he's killed by his chauffeur, who is the eponymous Shalimar. It's a good premise to start off with, other than the fact that the ambassador shares the same name to the letter as the German film director Max Offals, who directed films like The Earrings of Madame de and Les Rondes and Les Placures, a fact which sort of piqued my frustration with those sort of tactics and immediately set my ears on edge just to make sure I was ready to pounce on any hidden significance that this might have. But it was a little frustrating. It's sort of like naming a character Dante or Einstein or something. By the way, from a singular reading, I couldn't tell that parallel naming had any major significance throughout the novel. His next novel, by the way, which is due out later this year in 2019, is called Quixote, spelled Quichotte. So this is apparently a bit of a habit that he can't quite break. Max's assassination allows for an expository flashback to Kashmir, where the beautiful Bunyi Kaul, a young girl, falls in love with a young Muslim circus performer by the name of Shalimar. And when Max shows up, he falls in love with Bunyi and absconds with her back to Delhi, in India. In due time, Max gets Bunyi pregnant, and their daughter, India, is taken back to the West. This leaves Shalimar in a unique but desperate position, cuckolded by a Westerner ripe for political radicalization and seeking revenge. These events allow for the parallel exploration of India, the young woman's discovery of the multiple sources of her own identity told alongside the political and mythological complexities of the country itself. Rushdie's prose can be a bit purple at times. His turn of phrase can be a little bit hyperbolic. We're told of the ambassador Max Offals that, quote, he was the high priest of the golden bow. He inhabited his enchanted grove and was adored. as a scholar of international relations and with a lot of political clout, I guess this is sort of forgivable. He's very much a part of the establishment, someone whose reliability and predictability and sort of straight down the middle opinions have built him an increasingly solid reputation over the years. And I think we all know politicians and diplomats like this. But sometimes the purple can explode into sort of a miasma of earth-shattering violet, if that's not purple enough for you. As with the description of Shalimar, Max's new chauffeur. He says, quote, "He came, he said in halting reply of her inquiry from Kashmir. Her heart leapt. A driver from paradise. His hair was a mountain stream. There were narcissi from the banks of rushing rivers and peonies from the high meadows growing on his chest." End quote. Another issue can be the intentionally weighty symbolism. The daughter named India, Shalimar, which is another one of those weird parallel namings, which is actually the name of one of my favorite perfumes by the French perfumery Guerlain. Another tidbit that sort of perked my ears, but I didn't ultimately think had any significance to the novel. And this can get a little rough at times, but if you're willing to indulge the author, and I think I can indulge Salman Rushdie, I think it's something that can be easily enough overlooked. He doesn't do it too much, and it's not horrible. I just picked out a couple of notable examples. Despite the problems, I found the ideas and the language to be too big, too symphonic, too metropolitan, and too important to ignore. So many English language novels take place within a single country, with characters whose viewpoints are largely interchangeable with one another, with living unquestioned lives with unquestioned assumptions. The vitality of Shalimar the Clown, I think, is that it gets us in the mind of not only Max and India, but also the assassin, Shalimar, and somehow comes damn near to have us sympathizing with him and his motives. That it's about big, chewy, woolly questions about topics like identity and politics and love only serve to make it more irresistible. You blocked me, I would say, 7 or 8 years ago, when Twitter was maybe not just getting started on its feet, Salman Rushdie on Twitter, but I am still giving your book a 5-star review because I certainly think it deserves it. Unblock me if you see this. We'll talk. Salman Rushdie's Shalimar the Clown. Bye guys, see you next week.